Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Cole Hauser's comments about Yellowstone ending seem overly emotional, considering he's playing Rip again, but I have a theory. So yes, Yellowstone is over. I get that. However, the number of upcoming Yellowstone shows, and specifically the new Rip and Beth spin-off, don't have me feeling all sorts of sentimental about leaving the Montana ranch. That's because, to quote Taylor Swift, it feels like the end of a decade, but the start of an age. However, Cole Hauser was feeling emotional about it all in a video about Taylor Sheridan's flagship show. While I feel like it was a bit much, since he will be playing Rip again, it also sparked a theory about his new show and how connected it will be to the OG series. Cole Hauser's comments about Yellowstone ending. Now, don't get this twisted. I think Hauser's comments are sweet, and Season 5's final episodes did indeed mark an end of sorts. However, in Yellowstone's Instagram video about the lasting legacy of this series, what he said gave off the vibe that he would never play Rip again, and that's not the case at all. Before we get into that though, here's what the actor said. "It's been such an honor to play this character. And this year is a lot about picking up the pieces. There's a real sadness to just have to wrap everything up, but everything has to move on. That 7 years that we spent there has a special place in a lot of people's hearts." Isn't that giving off the energy that he's saying goodbye to Rip? I guess he may not have known about the spin-off when they filmed this interview, but oddly, it was released long after we learned about the Rip and Beth spin-off and saw the end of Yellowstone's final season. However, it's important to note that I think Hauser is being very genuine here, and the more I ruminate on his comments, the more I start to theorize about just how involved the other Duttons and characters from Yellowstone will be in his new spin-off. I have a theory that this might mean the Rip and Beth spin-off is very disconnected from Yellowstone. At the end of Yellowstone, John Dutton's family ranch was given back to the indigenous people who lived there long before them, and Beth and Case went their separate ways. While Case negotiated a deal to keep one small portion of his family's land, Beth moved away with her husband Rip and their basically adopted son Carter to Dillon, Montana. Going into Rip and Beth's spin-off, I assume we'll pick up where we left off, their new home. My guess is that the old Dutton Ranch and most of the characters they interacted with there won't be involved, and Hauser's sentimental comments about saying goodbye to Yellowstone make me believe this theory even more. While I assume Carter and Lloyd will be part of Rip and Beth's story, I don't really think anyone else will be. Other than the fact that these characters were on Yellowstone, I don't see their new show having much to do with the old one. Hauser's recent comments about wrapping everything up and moving on only add more fuel to this theory fire I have cooking. Overall, I think Rip and Beth's new show will be very disconnected from Yellowstone and feature a new home, new characters, and new challenges. So while I still find Hauser's comments about the OG show ending a bit over-emotional, I do get where he was coming from. Cole Hauser's comments about Yellowstone ending seem overly emotional, considering he's playing Rip again, but I have a theory. When Cole Hauser recently spoke about the impending conclusion of the hit TV series Yellowstone, fans couldn't help but notice the deep emotion in his words. The actor, who plays the rugged and fiercely loyal Rip Wheeler, described the series ending as a deeply personal and bittersweet moment. While his reaction resonates with the emotional gravity of bidding farewell to a beloved show, it's also raised some eyebrows. After all, Rip Wheeler is not going anywhere. Hauser will reprise his iconic role in the planned sequel series. So why the tears and heartfelt reflections? I have a theory. First, let's unpack Cole Hauser's comments. In interviews and public appearances, he's talked about how much the show has meant to him personally and professionally. He's called Yellowstone a game changer for his career and has openly expressed gratitude to Taylor Sheridan, the show's creator, for giving him the role of a lifetime. But what's most striking is the almost melancholic tone he's adopted when discussing the finale. Hauser has emphasized how close-knit the cast and crew became over the years, describing the production as more than just a job, but a family. At first glance, this reaction seems perfectly reasonable. After all, Hauser has spent years embodying Rip Wheeler, and the role has elevated him to a level of fame he hadn't previously achieved. However, it's worth noting that his emotional response feels disproportionately intense, considering he'll still be playing Rip in the sequel series. It's not a complete goodbye, it's more like closing one chapter to begin another. So what gives? Here's where my theory comes in. Cole Hauser's reaction is about more than just the end of Yellowstone. It's about the end of this version of Rip Wheeler and what the show's legacy represents. Think about it. Yellowstone has been a cultural phenomenon, a series that captured the complexities of modern Western life while serving up high-stakes drama, family dynamics, and unforgettable characters. For Hauser, the original series is where Rip Wheeler was born and where the character's depth was meticulously crafted. The sequel may continue Rip's story, but it won't be the same sandbox. It'll have a new setting, a new tone, and likely new dynamics. Hauser's emotional response could stem from the knowledge that while he'll still wear Rip's signature black hat, the original magic, the chemistry of the cast, the Montana landscapes, and the specific storytelling style of Yellowstone can never be replicated. Another layer to consider is how deeply Hauser connects with Rip Wheeler as a character. Rip isn't just a role for Hauser, he's a fully realized part of his creative identity. Hauser has often spoken about how much he's put of himself into the character, from Rip's stoic demeanor to his unwavering sense of loyalty. For Hauser, saying goodbye to Yellowstone might feel like saying goodbye to a version of himself, even if Rip lives on in the sequel. The original series allowed Hauser to explore Rip's complexity in a way that felt organic and grounded. It's uncertain if the sequel will afford the same depth or focus on Rip's character. There's also the broader context of the Yellowstone phenomenon. The series didn't just redefine modern westerns, it created a universe that resonated with audiences on a profound level. The themes of family loyalty, land ownership, and the cost of ambition struck a chord with viewers, making Yellowstone more than just a TV show. For Hauser, being part of such a culturally significant project is undoubtedly a career milestone, and the end of the series marks the end of an era. The sequel may succeed in continuing the story, but it won't carry the weight of being the original groundbreaking work. My theory also hinges on the idea that Hauser's reaction reflects a sense of uncertainty about what's next. Sequels and spin-offs are notoriously tricky, and there's no guarantee that the sequel series will capture the same magic. Hauser's emotional comments might reflect an awareness of this uncertainty. While he's excited to keep exploring Rip's story, he may also feel the pressure of living up to fans' expectations and preserving Yellowstone's legacy. The original series is a tough act to follow, and even the most talented actors can feel the weight of such responsibility.